guys, today's video is going to be all about free will. Who has it, who doesn't, how you work with it, what it means for your manifestation. It's a topic that I think people struggle to accept and acknowledge and understand. Especially when you're first starting out, you might panic a lot and wonder, but you know, my SP lives across the country, or I just started this job, you know, how am I going to get that end result that I want? But really, this is where the topic of free will comes in to reassure you that you can and will get what you want if you persist. So I'm going to get more into this, give you guys some examples and explanations, so stay tuned if you're interested. Please also thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all my content. I post a lot of vlogs and fashion style content as well, and you know, beauty hauls and reviews, but mainly it's manifestation content. So if you turn on the notification bell, you will be up to date whenever I post. And I also offer one-on-one coaching. If you're interested in getting some extra help from me, you'd like some one-on-one advice, maybe you're struggling with your manifestations, then please get in touch. All information is actually already on my Instagram page, which is LOA Coaching. So take a look if you're interested, and let's get started. The first point is that we each individually have free will in our realities. We are the only ones, as the individuals, you know, as yourself, as the individual human being. You are in control of your life. You know, have a holistic view of your entire life. You have a 360 view. You know everything from your own perspective, right? All your relationships, experiences, emotions, and you are the only one with the ability to have free will. But this is for everyone. So obviously, you know, your SP in his or her reality has their own free will. They are also in full control of their reality, and their assumptions and thoughts affect it. But before there's any confusion about this, by creating affirmations, you are impacting your relationship with them. So although they do have free will, if they are not actively creating an assumption or changing their beliefs about you to be, you know, very positive or very negative, they will be affected by your affirmations. Even if they have a very negative viewpoint of you, by you affirming something really positive on repeat all day long, they are going to conform to that. And yes, you can also conform to other people's affirmations, but as long as you're creating your own assumptions and you're, you know, consciously manifesting and consciously looping and repeating what you want, you cannot be subject to somebody else trying to change you. But for the most part, I think it's a lot easier with other people, because generally manifestation is still very niche. So the chances of your SP or whatever specific person also trying to, you know, manifest something or affirm for you or try to change your relationship in some way actively, it's very unlikely. So there won't be any clashing, you know, focus. By you focusing predominantly on your desire with whoever or whatever, you are creating the dynamic of that relationship. You are in control of how it's changing. So yeah, I know there might be some confusion. Well, if they also have free will, then how can they do this, blah, blah, blah. But you are actively and consciously on a regular basis changing the assumptions and saying he or she, SP, feels this, thinks this, does this for me. They are not opposing it in their thoughts. They are not sat there thinking, I will never ask her out, I will never ask her out, I'll never ask her out. They're not sat there doing that. So how can they, with their free will, oppose it? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why also conscious manifestors and us as conscious creators, we can be subject to other people's manifestations. If, let's say, you do have an old SP or a friend who knows manifestation and they want to manifest you to do something, you can still be affected by that. But as an individual in your reality, along with all other human beings in the world, we are the only ones with free will from our own life, our own experience. So you have all the power to change any relationship in your life. I hope that was a clarifying explanation and gave you guys some insight into actually how manifestation works, how people conform to your desire. You know, this is actually how the manifestation unfolds. So of course, your assumptions and thoughts and beliefs are developed based on your own life experiences, the way your family raised you, the way your parents raised you, and the familial influence and influence from your friends. Just growing up in life, the predominant ideas that were kind of taught to you, whether it's school or You know, that's why there's a lot of unlearning to be done. I do a video on this topic as well of, you know, unlearning bad habits and things that our parents taught us, thinking obviously they're doing what's right for us, but it clashes with the concept of being a conscious creator, of being able to change anything in your reality. So you don't need to hold on to negative beliefs, but that is usually how your assumptions and beliefs about yourself and your life develop. But you, as the only person with free will, can change all of that. So yeah, just to clarify, nobody else except you in your reality, the experiences that you have in relation to that, nobody else has the free will to change things or say, actually, I have this urge to text her, but I'm not going to do it. They can't do that. If you are affirming for them to text you, they have to do it. Whether they resist it for a couple of weeks or not, something naturally has to occur for them to think, actually, I'm going to text her right now, you know? And this is especially the case with your SP if you are affirming. If you are placing a lot of daily, regular focus on your specific person or a person that you're trying to conform and you're affirming, they absolutely have no free will and will have to conform even faster to your assumptions. So when it comes to allowing your SP to have free will, I know Sammy Ingram has talked about this. She did have a video about this, and I think all coaches have talked about this topic within Law of Assumption. But essentially, I think what Sammy also said that I want to touch upon is you're allowing your SP to have free will. And yes, there is no free will, but you're essentially giving them free will by allowing old assumptions to just take place. So if you decide to stop affirming, or, you know, if you look back on retrospectively on your past experiences, the negative things that happened with your SP that obviously you didn't want happened because you were not consciously manifesting them. So the old assumptions and whatever beliefs and assumptions and thoughts were repeating in your mind and subconscious, that is what was reflected into your 3D. They took charge over, you know, any positive change you wanted, because you were allowing them to just kind of have free reign, you know, just come out and play for as long as they want and essentially ruin the relationship with SP or create a negative experience with a person that you're now trying to fix with your conscious manifestation. So that is essentially how you would just allow free will. And there's nothing immoral about it because you're not going out and forcing an action. You're not against somebody's free will, going out and physically or emotionally or mentally forcing someone to do something. You're not, you know, manipulating them. You're simply affirming within your own mind, and then the 3D reality has to unfold naturally. That's why you don't interfere with the 3D. You don't text them certain things. You don't try and get certain answers. You don't stalk social media pages. You don't do any of those things, because that's the whole point of letting go of that control of the how. We don't need to figure out the how. So in that case, in that sense, I also want to touch on the issue of it being a very moral way to conform someone to your desires. Because like I said, you're not going out and physically threatening someone to do something. You're not forcing them mentally or, you know, manipulating, or, yeah, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just affirming it. And then that person has to start having inspiration, ideas. You know, they might start to think, actually, the 3P isn't working, you know, that I don't have feelings for them anymore. You know, the relationship isn't as good as with like, whoever, your name. So it'll happen naturally. It's not that they're miserable and like, oh my God, I'm like being magnetized to this person, but I hate it, I feel awful. It's not like that at all. It will happen naturally, gradually, in an easy, natural way for them, especially if you don't interfere with the 3D. So that's the kind of moral issue of no free will. It's just the way it is. It's part of the law, the actual law of assumption. There's nothing you can do to change it. People just don't have free will. But when it comes to allowing the free will, the only way that can be implemented is if you just stop affirming for what you want and allow whatever is in your subconscious mind from the past to just reflect your 3D. But in that case, you know, for the most part, we'll start manifesting negative things and we'll go back to a negative state with RSP. So that's why you need to stay on top of how you want things to be. So hopefully that point kind of explains how, you know, free will is implemented in your affirmations and why it's okay to do, why it's not immoral. It's just the way it is. Whether you affirm or not, they don't have free will. So whether you allow the old story to play out, you know, without being in control of anything, or you can affirm for what you actually want. What happens with a specific person or your SP romantically is that their thoughts and emotions will start to align with what you're saying. Obviously, the 3D changes that start to occur usually start with their, their internal changes. So your SP will probably start to have thoughts that align with what you're affirming for, inspired action, inspirational ideas. They'll start seeing signs of you, for even if it's just a friend or family member, it doesn't have to be a romantic SP. And they will start to feel positive emotions that align with what you want. They might, miss you, feel sorry for what happened, want to reach out to you, start feeling nostalgic, just anything along those lines. That is how the confirmation process works. And that is how the no free will concept is implemented. They will start to internally experience, or even verbally in their conversations with friends and family, something that aligns with what you're affirming for. And then the 3D change will most probably go in that order and then lead into something physical, like a text from them, or them, seeing them at a party, some other kind of physical 3D change. This also ties into Neville Goddard's concept of being the god of your reality. Essentially, because you are the only one with free will, you are in full control of how things go. That's why we need to affirm and loop that new idea repeatedly, not all day long, but every day consistently as much as we can. Because you are the one who's in control, you're the one who's saying this is how it goes, my 3D looks like this, these people act like this, and that's why you need to put that conscious effort in, and that's where Neville Goddard's concept of God of your reality comes in. You're the one kind of overseeing your whole own world, your own little individual world of experiences and relationships, and you are in full control. And finally, just to summarize, you are the person who is deciding how everyone in your reality acts. You're deciding, how things go, how the relationship develops or ends or begins, whatever the case may be. You're overseeing all of that, and through repeating a new story, you're shifting the whole, timeline and experience into being how you want it to be. So it can happen gradually. And yeah, just remember this concept that they don't have free will, and even if it has been no visible movement for months or weeks, it's still working. Something is happening, whether it's your own mind conforming or them conforming in their thoughts, which obviously isn't visible to anyone except them for the time being. It is working, it is happening. So just keep this concept in mind if you ever start to falter or doubt your manifestation. But I hope this video was kind of eye-opening or inspirational. If it was, please do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and leave any comments below. Of course, I'd love to talk to you guys about this. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.